Good evening.
First of all, I would like to say thank you to the IFRA committee for inviting me here to make this presentation on Skinner. But in particular, I would like to thank Nahir, who really pushed me initially with this. So, I think for the seafarers, all these slides are not new. But I guess it's worth going through it. Now, basically, this is a image on the marine traffic around Sri Lanka mostly. You could see the concentration of vessels probably, it's like a snapshot. At any given moment, this is the concentration of traffic. And I think the different colors denote the tankers, the container ships, and the smaller ones. And also the arrow points to the destination where it's going. And I think also they have put the name of the ship and the registry and the destination. So you could see, it's massive, right? When you look at it, you will know it's a resource. It's a intangible resource, right? So I mean that's where it begins. So basically, I have monetized all these aspects, and the bottom line says. Skim dough is a national resource that benefits the world trade $12 billion, not million, billion dollars per year, but contributes nothing to Sri Lanka.
No. You're allowed to question?
Or if you want to do it
Yeah. I'll get one.
at last.
No, just a quick one. They might say Sri Lanka is the interruption and you will pay some damages.
Sorry?
If Sri Lanka was not there, there will be a shock. So we better pay them something. Oh yes. If we are obstruction to a shorter route.
Nobody goes unpunished, right?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so this is the second one. The slim dough stands for Sri Lanka multi-billion dollar ocean. I of course put a dash air expressway. Ishan, I think the later on slides has there as well. So I mean basically for the seafarer there's nothing new, right? Now, so this is the main east-west shipping route which connects the Atlantic to the Pacific, right? And coming from Suez, going up to Singapore, this is the route. So it just brushes past Sri Lanka, so that's the main route. So basically, I call it a proposed initiative that can serve as a platform for climate justice for Sri Lanka to redress the damage caused to environmental and economic resources by carriers using our nation's exclusive economic zone. So this is the next slide. And I call this Sri Lanka is an island at the center of the expressway. Because actually we are really at the center here, an island. Now, if you move on to this slide, it shows the exclusive economic zone of Sri Lanka. You can see this is the landmass. But we have this entire area, 200 nautical miles from the shoreline, which has been given to Sri Lanka as the exclusive economic zone. Now, I mean, I think visually even you can see, we have 25,000 square kilometers, but here it's 8 times that, almost 500,000. So that's a massive area. So what the ships are doing is they are taking a shortcut, going through, because that makes sense to take a shortcut. So basically, if you look at the last 2 decades, Sri Lanka has provided a shortcut to move 40% of the world trade, a massive amount. and thousands of commercial flights, allowing unobstructed passage through Sri Lanka's EEZ. So I call this the Slindo shortcut.
Shortcut.
Sorry? Yeah, I mean, the shortcut is because they
Otherwise they have to go round.
They are going without going round, they
Yeah.
just land.
Right.
So, it's a sea lane that saves billions of dollars for global trade. Slindo enables cargo vessels to sail just outside Sri Lanka's territorial waters for most part, but passing through the territorial waters at Lanka. Over here is basically, I think it's about 3 or 4 miles from the seashore. This passageway allows cargo ships to sail in a straight line rather than taking a circular route outside the 200 nautical mile east of Sri Lanka. This enables vessels to reduce their distance travel by 400 miles per voyage, each crossing, saving almost a day of sailing. So every year, 55,000 large container vessels and bulk carriers and another 5,000 ultra-large crude oil carriers journey through Slindo. Slindo realizes importers, exporters, freight companies and consumers a saving of $12 billion per year. So Sri Lanka is actually assuming an additional risk with no reward. So everything is for the global trade. Yet, despite the immense global economic gains, estimated at over 240 billion during the last 20 years, 12 into 20, in fuel, time and inventory savings. Sri Lanka received no compensation, all while bearing the brunt of the environmental and health costs from emissions released in its airspace and surrounding seas. These are the various problems that Sri Lanka has. I mean, these are the floods, then there are droughts. Now we have a human-elephant conflict because people have taken the land of the elephants, and now they are coming to our homes. Then of course you have problems with landslides. Then you have problems with the whales and the dolphins and also the migratory birds with respect to aircraft. And then of course other calamities. All this has to be taken by the, ultimately it goes down to the citizens of this country. So the key concerns of this is that, I did a little calculation. I must admit I'm not a scientist. I'm just an ordinary accountant, but with my basic calculations. This, it emits this passage, during that passage of Slindo, which is almost a 500 mile length from. They drop off 25 million tons of carbon dioxide. And
These are only ships, no? You're not talking about the planes, no? Only ships.
both together.
Both together.
But actually, 90% is
Ships,
yeah.
yeah.
Right? I have the exact about 10%. And in addition to that, they also let off acids, poisonous noxes and the soxes. I think in terms of noxes, my crude calculation is that they drop off about 1 million tons. And soxes about 500,000 tons. And plenty of black carbon particles, the particulate matter. So the estimated cost to decarbonize that amount of carbon and to neutralize the noxes and the soxes, according to the present calculations and the technology available, it will cost $7 billion. that's the story, that's the equation. They gain $240 billion, we get nothing. But when you say we get nothing, that's wrong. But the cost of neutralizing the emissions is 7 billion, right? Now, see, it's very difficult to calculate the real destruction the emissions cause, because you are talking about a country. You are talking about the highest biodiverse country in the world. So you can't put a price tag, right? I mean, let's look at Singarali forest. It's taking a beating. But I cannot put any value to that. It's very difficult. So let's look at all our heritage sites, Sigiriya, and everything, and even the poor elephants are taking a beating, right? And then the migratory birds from the flights. So it's very difficult to put a
Value.
the real value. So what I did was, okay, forget about the value, right? But at least to neutralize the emissions, it will cost $7 billion. So these emissions affect marine ecosystems, the public health, the agriculture, and the local biodiversity. Right? And according to the IMF and the World Bank calculations, it retards our GDP growth by, they say 3%, but I think it's much more than that. So I mean, you can see the bigger picture of the rescue movements. The brighter red is the highest concentration, and this is the emissions ring, right, around Sri Lanka. Can you see the ring? It's constant, right? I mean it's massive, much more than the Malacca Strait, right? So that is the problem Sri Lanka has. I mean, it's I don't know. I'm just thinking, right? See, you have a line of ships around Sri Lanka. In that, can I get to that? Right? If you can get some drones, right, as the ship, it will be hidden in that passage. There will be more than 300 ships in that line, one behind the other. Like, the planes coming to land in the airport, lined up, right? So, and they are moving, and each of the ships are sending out emissions, right? And from the top, the aircrafts are also basically, I think, they also take a route somewhere like close to that. So you get hammered from top and bottom. I see this like a tunnel, a massive tunnel, right? With all this and causing a lot of problems.
Actually, the flight path is right across Sri Lanka. It's coming from
There is also no-
Kalpitia side and then crossing.
Right. So I was trying to get people of Sri Lanka to understand that you have a problem like this, and that you will be able to use this as a leverage to seek assistance from the global trade. Right? So I have the Swindle initiative, and the framework has been clearly defined over the last 5 years. I started this in 2019. I've been sort of, fine tuning. I think I communicated with more than 2,000 people on emails, right? Trying to see their reaction. Because it's very difficult for me to do it. So when they ask me questions, I look at it and try and improve. right? So it's defined as a quantified intangible national asset. It's like a computer software, you know. It's an intangible asset. It's not tangible. You can't see it, you can't feel it, right? But it is there. And I also just put a estimated intrinsic value besides the leverage. And I have put a figure of $700 billion. What is the GDP of Sri Lanka? 100. And the economy crashes because you couldn't pay $2 billion. Here you have asset, such a huge asset, right? So basically, I've been trying to communicate, right, with the government. So I have published 12 different documents. And at each stage, I have published a document with ISPN number, so it's all recorded, right? So this was the last document I did. The trade tariffs imposed on Sri Lanka. You know, what prompted me to innovate this window was that somewhere in 2019, I looked at the macro economy of Sri Lanka. And it was pathetic. This is the 2019 macro economy. And I put the RMF, COVID, after crash, IMF, the various things that happen in Sri Lanka. Now, the problem what's with Sri Lankan economy that I discovered was that your exports are 12 billion. Sorry. Right, your exports are 12 billion and your imports are 20 billion. And you have this trade deficit. And this has been there for the last 70 years. Plus or minus. So you need to address that. Then the other problem is the budget deficit. Minus 90%. You can't continue to operate that. So the crash is imminent. Right? I mean, it's not rocket science. If you look at the figures, the crash was imminent. So I was thinking, right, now this trade balance is massive. And in addition to that, you have a $7 billion loan repayment. So you can't address the problem of Sri Lanka by tinkering, by doing small things, right? By doing millions. You need to bring in a $1 billion revenue source. And that is what I have proposed in Swinton. Because if you get the $7 billion, not now, to start now, probably after 6-7 years you might be able to get there. Then at least you can bridge it. So that was my actually solution to fix the macroeconomic problem of Sri Lanka. Yeah, so I mean, these are the next steps that I think that should happen with the support of the government. You know, I have, as a citizen of this country, I have put the United Nations Loss and Damage Fund on notice that this is happening to Sri Lanka and that they should clearly see a way of assistance Sri Lanka. So then number two, I have also written to the European Union because I think on 1st of January 2024, the European Union mandated a carbon tax on ships. The 27 countries of the European Union are going ahead with that. They are collecting carbon taxes. I don't know. I mean, I don't know the exact legal side of it. But according to what they have stated, as I understand, if a ship leaves Rotterdam and goes to Singapore as the next stop, or vice versa. The ship comes from Singapore to Rotterdam. For the entire duration of that journey, they are collecting carbon taxes. I don't know in which form, right? But in principle, they are collecting a carbon tax. So I feel they are also collecting taxes for the emissions dropped in our 500-mile zone. So I wrote to them, we are a small country, we can't do what you are doing. Right? But what you are doing is fine. Please reimburse our share. I'm not talking about the unlaws. I'm not talking about any of the existing laws. This is basic natural justice and equity. If they are collecting something where the impact is taken by us, I mean, naturally, they will reimburse. So, that I have done. And more recently, I also made a submission to the IMO about the excessive carbon, is 25 million tons of carbon, 1 million tons of NOx, 500,000 tons of SOx. You know, they had to assist Sri Lanka, and I'm told, I don't know, is Leslie here today?
No.
Now, I've been having a chat with Leslie because he was my technical manager when I was at
And he has connections with IMO.
Yeah, he's with IMO, and he told me they have already set up a fund and they are collecting money. So it's a matter of, talking and getting something for Sri Lanka. So all these three things has to be done by the government. But in addition to that, I see a massive role for the private sector, the joint ventures, the foreign investments. Now, we can enter into the carbon capture. Right? At this moment in time, I think Stella Bulk has a mechanism where they are capturing the carbon off the chimney, storing it on board in containers in liquid form or I don't know, whatever form, and bringing it into the port for further processing. And I also saw a news item recently that the Chinese people have taken one step further on this carbon capture, where the ship does not have to stop while in motion. The mothership collects the carbon. Right? So if 60,000 vessels are going past, isn't this the ideal point to do the carbon capture? Where the private sector should get involved. And then the other thing is that, see, if 25 million tons of carbon is emitted, all these shipping companies and all the impact parties, like even the people who are drilling oil, they are all trying to see how they can reduce their carbon footprint. Because they have reported in the annual report. Right? And they have to say, okay, in 5 years' time, we are here now, in 5 years' time we are going to reduce it. Now, we can get these people to come and invest in Sri Lanka for carbon capture and the mitigation of carbon. The renewable energy part. So that has to be done by the private sector, not by the government. So there is a very big role for the private sector too. And then the other thing that I have been thinking is always carbon credits. We are, as a country, are absorbing carbon. I mean, if you look at the poor tea plucker, who plucks tea, the morning to evening, and we can't pay her the proper living wage, no? Because the estates do not generate sufficient revenue from the sale of tea to pay a proper wage to this lady who sits in the sun for 8 hours. But aren't they absorbing carbon? The tea bush. So, you need to take this through, right? So, if Slindo can do something, and say, okay, these are Slindo carbon credits, and you sell these carbon credits to the people who are emitting carbon. They'll buy it. Today, you can sell a carbon credit for $100, $200, right? So, you can collect the money and give it to the people who are absorbing all these presents. The tea plucker, the coconut climber, then the cinnamon peeler, the rubber tapper. They are the people who are supporting the economy. But are they getting a real wage? This, if it is implemented, I think all of them can benefit in different ways. The fishermen, the paddy farmer. Do you think, aren't they skipping 1 meal a day today? All of them. So, if the government gets involved, all these benefits can be passed on. So that's, Slindo is not just a concept. I think it's a platform for climate justice, environmental resilience, and sovereign economic renewal. It's time we recognize and raise global awareness of this hidden value in Sri Lanka, contributes to the global economies. Ensure that the costs borne by our people are no longer ignored. Let us use Slindo as leverage to support Sri Lanka's economic transformation. It's a major pillar. It could be a major pillar in the economic transformation. So that's basically my submission.
That's very good. Thank you very much. This particular subject, if this has been addressed properly in the Parliament, and if we can get MIPA also involved with this, I think we can go to some extent. That's what I feel. The MIPA will also have to be, is that right? MIPA will also have to be getting involved because it's to do with the environment.
Yeah.
And also, when you consider the large amount of income coming to Sri Lanka, you're talking about billions of dollars, and the country needs all that money, like at the moment. So I think if you approach the correct people here, starting with most probably the Deputy Minister of Shipping, who he's also a seafarer. So he's a seafarer. So he will, I think, push it. Get Ports Authority also and the MIPA involved in this one. I think we might be able to get somewhere with this.
The universities also at the same time.
Yeah.
Research divisions.
Research.
Can I sit?
That's it. Yeah.
No, you have to answer the question.
Sorry?
Until you will answer the question.
Okay.
You want to sit on this chair? I'll answer the questions.
Right. Sorry. Yeah, I know.
All see with the legs.
Is there a precedent anywhere where people, countries are collecting revenue with this carbon?
This part of the world, is there
emission?
any other country? Like
Well, the
Singapore?
European Union is collecting.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
So if there's a precedent, we can follow those lines.
We could. Yeah.
The difference what the EU has done is like their territorial waters, Indian legislation to limit the carbon emission. So if a ship enters it that does not meet the requirement, and you cannot enter.
The restriction, there should be a legislation for that, no? So legislation, they're entering our area, like our zone. Then there has to be.
So the other issue is, it is also not the international waters and ships. Global trade looks, it has to be a UN kind of a IMO to convention something. So
Act.
it's
Not
more
an act, not act.
convention. Because where we went for the delimitation from the state.
Yeah.
So similarly, probably a subcommittee will be developed to where this year can
No,
help and initiate. So
because he being the
long process.
IMO rep.
Long process. But that is where it has to come to.
You mentioned Malacca Straits. I mean,
That's again
yeah, exactly. So,
same
so
situation.
all the shipping lines will go broke by the time they pay all the fuels on either side.
It's not only us.
Well,
So,
They will have the
when
same-
supply
Then they have to pay
global
that, they have to
here,
pay here, I don't know.
That is how UN will come. And
Yeah, then they will object.
That's, then there has to be a international convention where how this money is shared.
Among the countries, yeah.
Countries and-
Depending on the volume
Or
of
whatever it is, some parameters.
so if they go away from Sri Lanka,
Yeah.
then
Of
also
course,
then
it will be.
we keep getting less and less.
Sorry?
Yeah, concentration, yeah.
For us, gets less and less if the ship starts
Moving out.
going away from Sri Lanka, further south.
they will not come to port or left.
They
No,
go
no,
outside
it
the
is $6 ships, they don't stop here. We only have.
No, they're passing.
Yeah, we only have
I think
$5 ships.
what
that
he's
come.
saying is if the ship take a
Go outside the
to
EEZ.
outside the EEZ,
Okay.
Then
Then
of
they,
course we
they
will
have,
lose the-
they have to spend $12 million.
yes, I
Yeah,
agree.
then they have to
So-
pay for their four.
But then countries like Singapore, Malacca Strait, they are going, they have no way to go up there. They have to go through that.
Yeah.
And same with Suez Canal, they have the both sides, and Panama Canal, all those areas, and passing through the Arabian Sea and all that. So all those ships, so this is a problem all across. So probably the resolution has to come from some international body, and we challenging it, or we taking it up at
But you
local
said
level.
in Europe they are collecting.
Yeah.
They are collecting.
And the countries are getting paid.
Sorry?
No, countries are not getting paid.
They get the money.
They collect the money.
European Union
Who
gets.
collects it?
European Union.
Yeah.
European Union is correct. What about the states, USA?
No, US.
USA, no.
Actually, they are probably, Mr. Prana opposed to this.
Chairman, as Nilagi mentioned, all these universities, actually one university should be there for the main discussion with the government. Knowledge.
Universities in the research department. Research department of.
Just like Dr. Ayo Ilapruman, all these people, they are
They will also
conversant
be
about
having
this
that.
pollution.
That's a very important point you
pollution.
mentioned.
So on the other hand, all the navigating ships, right, they always take the site to the Dondai. So if they go, because I have been, going around this one and going through Dondai, so they save a lot of fuel on the issue. So we have to claim that from the shipping firms.
That's what we are.
That's what we are talking.
Yeah, actually, so that's, that is our entitlement, right?
Currently, already oil pollution, I don't know, and the MARPOL, so they still dabbling.
No, MARPOL have tried the scrubbers and everything,
Yeah,
right? The
True, but then if
fuel
there is
systems and all
any
these things.
impact on our waters and oil pollution, we can charge the ship and we can pay. But air pollution,
But is the air pollution?
Yeah,
Yes,
because-
yes, yes,
yeah.
I don't know.
They can't stop altogether the pollution, right? To a certain extent, the
Yes.
IMO has given imposed regulations. So that is the maximum.
Yes.
Above that one, they can't do anything, like ballast water and all these things, right? So the IMO will also say they have put, enough and, the regulations. So the other scientists and other people has to prove that Sri Lanka gets more and more, right? This, what do you say, carbon deposits and all these things. So then only you can, fight for that. Because IMO also has imposed the shipping lines various restrictions.
I think there was an article recently, Leslie forwarded this to us, something to do with emissions, I think. But this one, I think USA is objecting and Middle East countries objecting. But they can't, because they have to pay huge amounts, so they are objecting.
Any ratification, you have to
Minimum number of votes.
Tonnage and boat.
I will, ask Leslie to be here.
That means whitelist.
Yeah.
So why not Leslie can involve the whitelist stakeholders?
Mr. Wickramasinghe, we understand that your effort is
Yeah,
really
yeah,
great.
we are trying your level best
You are
to
trying
improve
to
the
bring
Our
a-
city is actually, as you mentioned,
Yes,
cities,
yes.
at least one representative from,
Each
each
university.
department should get involved in the issue, because the politicians, of course, they, not even the Minister of Shipping,
They don't
they doesn't understand, these things. So there should be a body.
Team of
Body.
people that who can, bring it to the international standard.
That's right, yes.
So
So I think your initiative is great to start with.
to just add something to everything, because I think this is pretty much what the EU had done. You had asked what was the precedent, what was there.
You said the European Union is
So-
collecting.
so they-
how are they
so-
collecting now, and how are they distributing to the members of the European Union?
So
I
I
Is
believe,
it happening?
I believe
I don't know,
what happened
I only know that they are collecting.
Let us collect and.
On the basis,
on the basis
the
of
base,
what
base when the ship leaves Rotterdam, as you said, it's based on the size of the ship, or the voyage that they are doing from there to Singapore.
I think there are some calculations that they are doing on it.
I think volume of cargo
We should study that in
but the
actual
process
mechanism.
with this committee is what they started in the EU, especially it was starting with specific countries where inside the countries, now when you go to some place like Amsterdam, they want you to be cycling, their buses are electric. So there's a big movement to decarbonize the region. With that, they can enforce anyone who's coming into our region has to abide by that, requirement. So I guess, but it requires an effort of a unified body, as you correctly said.
Eventually, after some years, we can
Particular.
achieve.
The income coming into Sri Lanka, the country, is huge. According to figures we have displayed here.
Why I've always wondered, because you're all in the shipping industry, I was always wondering, if Sri Lanka is in the middle of a major part, why there's no cross-country rail services, storing cargo, so ships can just come here and go back? Is it still cost effective to just take the entire route? Isn't it cheaper to go back and forth without crossing India, whatever it's like?
We have to say there's a shipment cargo.
Yeah, but it's only very small. That's why I was always curious, even mid-sea refueling, look at how many ships go there. But if, like he had mentioned about this whole thing about carbon collection mid-sea, because it's all a counting effort. It's not.
I
we're not
have
losing. We're not
done
losing.
offshore bunkering where the bunker where
In the
the
ocean.
passage.
I mean, there's a ton of opportunity by the looks of it, but I don't know. I'm just showing a picture. I was always curious why. I'm not very clued in on the costs of
Not
shipping
enough
costs.
traffic.
Yeah.
Not enough.
Not enough cars.
These guys are quite happy to do their bunkering while there's cargo going on.
Oh, okay.
Not to make
Cargo is
a
the
separate stop.
Right. Otherwise, the
It's a-
TEU costs will.
Yes,
Yeah,
actually, they own
This is where
shipping
you
is
buy-
based on daily operating costs per hour. It's also
So it's a good start, I think, so that we can maybe like, start somewhere around. Age is.
Age for beauty, I say.
personally for swine.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, the drinks are over there after that.
Whereas LIS have suggested, get the 5-6 universities also involved, and then their research team, they are very
I
good
was
research
very
team.
sorry, it means there's nothing finished here.
So thank you very much for coming and, it's your, obviously, schedule your,
No, I was very happy when Nair really pushed me.
Yeah.
I was going to rag you, but
No, we were not actually very focused on what's about this.
but how do we make it happen where we really get interviewed during our lifetime?
But I think you see this is where actually
Also, if everyone starts applying that, from Singapore, Malacca, Strait, everything, all the way down, then down the Indian coast. Just a project that, then where will all of us be?
So
Should we stop?
So the only one president, similar but different,
Is the continental sheriff delimitation commission that was appointed by you some years back. Dr. Rajavardhana and before Nara, it was Vishnu Chavardhana who initiated this whole thing. That was Jay's brother. When they were he was representing UN, he raised this issue, and then they got UN main assembly to appoint a subcommittee to look into this. That is where we are now trying to get a larger capital on the ocean. That whole thing happened. It took about 25, 30 years. This hasn't happened.
Because the Mulkiti was also involved.
So that was one initiative Sri Lanka took up. Other countries also supported, because we still have an issue with India. India objecting to some of the territories that we are claiming in the ocean. So we need to come to an agreement on that.
Mr. Wickramasinghe, have you taken this issue with the present government?
I have. In fact, I had a brief meeting with the deputy minister. For shipping.
Yeah,
Yeah, I met him about 6 months ago. But you know, he did not reach out to me thereafter. So
No, he is not in a position actually, he doesn't know much about this.
Yes,
But
go
as
to
he mentioned,
DGMS. DGMS has to get activated.
also university's issue is a big problem.
So they'll have to be pointed in the right direction also
Right, yeah.
to achieve some results. You know, because they ignored
So you are an individual, no, it will not get, you just get diluted. We have to like work. We can push. I manage.
can the Institute of Marine
Yeah,
Engineering
yeah.
push this?
Yeah, we can. We already have a dialogue there with the ministry, so
So, that would be great because
That's right.
That was taken at the Law of the Sea Convention. That previous similar thing you have to face
you know, the law of the sea
convention.
that
and we can get the OPA also involved. Push it through OPA.
Yeah, that was a nice issue.
Yeah.
do you all want to listen to my little song?
Why not? Just play. Just keep the mic there and play, then it will.
Oh, there might not be speakers on it.
The speaker is on.
and bonding.
Dismantle.
Slim Joe is the acronym given to Sri Lanka's multi-billion-dollar ocean air expressway. Slim Joe moves 60,000 ships annually, in comparison to 20,000 ships moved by Suez Canal and 15,000 by Panama Canal. Slim Joe Shortcut is the largest seamless operation in the world, which enables the world trade to annually save US dollars 12 billion, repeat, billion, directly, and another $5 billion indirectly from the reduction in the supply chain timing by 1 day. However, Sri Lanka does not earn a single cent from Slim Joe at this moment. Whilst the world trade gains billions, ships simultaneously dump 25 million tons of CO2 annually, together with poisonous SOx and NOx and the black carbon particles, destroying our economic resources. As per the current estimates, it would cost Sri Lanka $4 billion annually to decarbonize the Slim Joe emissions. This is a tragic situation where the global trade gains 12 billion and the citizens of Sri Lanka losing 4 billion annually. The ensuing video defines the Slim Joe concept and how to harness the strength of Slim Joe for the benefit of citizens of Sri Lanka. Thank you.
There's a multi-billion innocent of world trade passes through. Yeah, seamlessly passes through. Slim door, slim Once called the pearl of the Indian Ocean, surrounded by the water that is free. The ships and boats they sail on by without paying a single fee. Once called the pearl of the Indian Ocean, does anyone care about our nation? Ships and planes, they spread the pollution. Now it's a teardrop that needs a solution. Yes, there's a slim door, the perfect solution. The slim door, the perfect solution. The slim door, the slim door.
Not just being diverse advocate. No. I'm old enough to have been going around the Cape.
Slim Sampati होता
People they open the
अपनी
Suez
शक्ति
Canal.
होता
So can the
अपनी
Suez
श्रीलंका
Canal
को
say
harness the
that
strength of
you're
Slim
saving
Door
all this money because
to
you're
turn around the economy of our Sri Lanka.
Will that be also a claim saying that the Suez Canal is also providing less passage and less carbon consumption or emission compared to if they had to go around the Cape?
But Suez Canal has a tariff?
Yeah,
That is for-
yes,
that is for passage.
that is
Picking up
for-
money.
They are
Collecting money. Now,
Yeah, but I say, but this, no, that's for passage, no, but for this, on the carbon correction basis, you can say, well, how much, huge amount of money going on the Cape.
You see, they are already being remunerated.
You can watch your hands.
No, not here, that's for just passive, but not on the carbon.
Sure, but we get nothing.
Yeah, they
Now,
must
you
be
see,
covering
actually
that
now-
with their tariff.
Now Singapore,
කාලේ මම හිතන්නේ
because all the ships stop there,
No.
they pick the money.
Is Singapore collecting?
This time.
Huh?
Singapore is not collecting
I
money.
mean,
No, but they are collecting money from the other services.
Yeah, of course.
ammonia.
Yeah,
On the,
now even US is claiming no, even Panama Canal, the money should come to them because they gave it.
Yeah.
give it by mistake, give it back by mistake.
Japan, do they